right center field. That's got carry. It's gone. Number 500 and history for Miguel Cabrera.
Bottom line is, man, it's hard to break us now. It's hard to break us. As a matter of fact, you ain't going to do it.
Open look going as he hits it. What a play called by Tom Izzo in that timeout.
I was 7 years old watching a football game by myself, and I saw those winged helmets come out of the tunnel, and I was hooked at that point.
Kane in Chicago! Oh my God!
Kane with the overtime winner! Jameer Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it. He drives, lobs to JD for a jam.
You play real good, you start. You don't play as good, you work your way back in. It's the American way, except America has gotten soft. But that is the American way. That's the way it works.
This is the 6'6" Kane Cunningham. Jameson Williams, he's got it. Touchdown, Lions. Now it's Larkin with a burst of speed. He scores. Gives the United States the lead for the first time tonight.
Goosebump stuff, man. Wow. Great work by Trent Bally. Whew, is that good? I love every single piece of that. Welcome, everybody. That's a great way to start your Wednesday morning here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Excellent work. The Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Excellent move by the Tigers as well. And we're going to talk about it with Alex Avila at 8 o'clock. Craig Monroe at 8:35. Tim Hardaway Sr. will join us at 8:18 to talk about the Pistons. And still no decision on the amount of game suspensions for Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. So,
Shep, I kept refreshing my feed last night looking for something. I could not find anything because I had to do it on the court for today, which you'll hear later. But I wanted to update everybody on what the suspensions were. I couldn't find a damn thing.
Me either.
They play tonight, the Pistons.
Yeah, I thought for sure it would be within 24 hours. And, you know, maybe it was way too soon. That's what people were expecting. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Tigers are bringing home Justin Verlander on a 1-year, $13 million contract. The 11 of the 13 is kind of deferred until 2030. Brilliant move on the part of Scott Harris. Verlander turns 43, I know, in 9 days. I would remind you that he was 4-11 with a 3.85 ERA a year ago in 29 starts for San Francisco. I know the wins aren't impressive. The ERA went down. He won 3 of his last 4 decisions. 29 starts. Here's the beauty of what this dude is all about. He is a workhorse in the offseason. So I don't think that's going to wear down. I think he'll be ready. I think he'll be making those starts, which is great. I think he will keep you in the game at age 43. Listen, this is today's baseball. Whether you like it or not, today's baseball is get me through 6, and he can do that. Okay, get me through 5, and he can do that. And you've got some longer relief guys now. If you look at your starting rotation with Tarek Skubal and Framber Valdez, and I don't know how it's going to go, right? Casey Mize, who had fewer starts than Verlander last year, by the way, but had 14 wins. Casey Mize, Justin Verlander, Jack Flaherty, Troy Melton, right? And then suddenly you've got guys, Cater Montero. There's guys out there who can take some longer shifts, if you will, from the bullpen. It's not all guys at the back end that are going to be one-inning guys. I like the way this team is built. Does that mean they're going to the World Series? No, it does not. No, it doesn't. But I love what they have done over the last 2 weeks. With Framber Valdez last week, Justin Verlander this week. If you want to get nitpicky, you want to be a perfect world kind of guy, I'm missing a right-handed power bat. Here's what I truly believe this will do. This is going to keep you in it until the trade deadline. And at the trade deadline, this team, by signing Valdez, signing Verlander, obviously Skubal is here, right? What they're going to do is they're going to make the move they need to do what you hope they will do, go to the World Series. Sure as hell ain't going to predict it now. Doesn't make any sense doing that now. You don't know. You don't know anybody else. You don't know what those teams are. You don't know how this team's going to gel. You don't know how he's going to throw. You don't know any of that stuff. Doing a preseason prediction is stupid. But to say they've put themselves in this situation to be able to do and make the moves that might be necessary, I think that's worth it. 9-time All-Star, 266 career wins, which is 34th all-time, 8th on the all-time strikeout list. All that's beautiful. And I get the emotional attachment many of you have. He's back where he belongs. It's not a 38 Special song. He's back where he belongs, okay? And he is there to keep wearing the Old English tee. People standing ovation, right? When he makes his home debut. I think they opened 6 games on the road. I don't know what
April 3rd, I believe, is opening day. I believe. They do have 2 series on the road. It's Padres, Diamondbacks, and then I think April 3rd is opening day.
Okay. So I don't know what AJ Hinch's, rotation is going to be. Tarek School's going to start first game, of course. He likes to offset his pitchers. So why go lefty, right? So he may go Skubal, Verlander, Skubal, Mize, Skubal, Flaherty. I don't know. I wonder this, because some people say, well, this would be great. I mean, if you position it so Verlander can make the home opener, what would be more important to you? Knowing this is, in all likelihood, Skubal's last year as a Tiger. Do you want him as your home opener, or do you want Verlander as your home opener?
Is that our poll question?
That is the poll question. That's
a hell of a question, Shep.
That's the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question of the day. All right. Who would you rather see start the home opener? Justin Verlander or Tarek Skubal? Vote as often as you want at XP Mornings. The results come your way tomorrow. Big reason for the signing is Reese Olson. He's going to miss the entire season with a right shoulder labral injury. Now, I like Reese Olson. All right. I think he's got really good stuff. He's not ace material. All right. Let's not go so far. But there is a deep concern, and it was a great trade. I mean, Daniel Norris to Milwaukee for Reese Olson. You'll take it. Absolutely. Every single day. The problem is, he's hurt every year. 13 starts last year, 22 starts the year before, 18 starts his first year in Detroit. And injuries have gotten in the way. He's only won 13 games in his 3-year career. He is a back-end rotation guy. And this is not a knock on Reese Olson. There are guys out there like that. You can find a ton of them. Back-end guys, back-end rotation. You can't find the 1s and 2s very frequently. You can find the 3s and 4s and 5s. It's kind of like finding the third wide receiver. Shep, we've got to have Tim Patrick. No, you don't. You don't need Tim Patrick. With all due respect to Tim Patrick, you need Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it's nice to have Jamison Williams too, but you don't need Tim Patrick. And that's kind of what Reese Olson has fallen into. So Detroit, they knew this was happening, so this was the move they made. I applaud Scott Harris for what he's done. Again, I would love the power bat, but this team is good enough right now to win this division when healthy. If Verlander stays healthy, if everybody stays healthy, this team is good enough to win this division.
No
doubt. Here's the other thing that's beautiful. Verlander's pitched with Framber Valdez. Verlander's pitched for AJ Hinch. Verlander's pitched in Detroit. It's an ideal setup. Doesn't mean that he's your number 2, okay? You got a clear 1 and 2 here. All right, so let's not get too carried away. But I love the signing. Big game for the Pistons tonight, perhaps. Great win for an American team yesterday. We'll get to all that and more coming up here on X's and Bros. Just getting rolling on an exciting Wednesday. We're brought to you this hour by our friend Mitch Lyons and MitchLyonsWealth.com.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Grocery shopping at Meijer is a good deal better with family favorites for under $2, like red seedless grapes for $1.88 per pound. General Mills Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Honey Nut Cheerios, just $1.99 each. And select varieties of Meijer pasta are only $1 each. Great family meals at a great value. That's the good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
We'll get into the promises made by the Tigers and whether or not you think they have delivered. But first, let me just quickly finish up the headlines because we try to do that for you at the beginning of the show, and then we, quite honestly, divert into a conversation.
Hard not to do.
I know. Pistons are in Toronto tonight to play the final game before the All-Star break. Both teams on a bit of a roll. They've won 7 of their last 10. As Trent and I were talking moments ago, still no decision on the amount of suspensions tied to the fight in Charlotte the other night. I don't care, no offense. I don't care about Miles Bridges and how much he gets. I care about Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren and how much they're going to get. And quite honestly, the longer it goes, the more I'm concerned. So we'll get to that coming up. U.S. women's hockey team boasts a 5-0 shutout of Canada. First time Canada has ever been shut out in Olympic competition. Americans have scored at least 5 goals in every game. They're the best team in the world. There was a pass last night from close to the right corner, a blind saucer pass to a streaking forward up toward the left goalpost, moving left to right, who taps it in. And it was one of the better plays you'll see in hockey, no matter who's on the ice. Tyrone Wheatley has resigned after 3 years as head coach at Wayne State. He went a miserable 5-28 during his tenure, 0-11 last season. Makes you really appreciate Tony Annese a little bit more, doesn't it? Again, the poll question, the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. Who would you want to start the home opener, Skubal or Verlander? That is a tough one. One screams emotion. Verlander, all right. One screams logic. Oh, my gosh, it could be the last home opener for Tarek Skubal. But you vote as often as you like, and the results come your way tomorrow. Tigers promised they would spend when the timing was right. We thought it was last year, and they didn't. We thought it might have been the year before. It might be a little premature, all right? Detroit has over $100 million spent on their starting rotation alone. Valdez, $38 million. Skubal, $32 million. Flaherty at $20 million. Verlander at 13, although, again, 11 is deferred. Mize at a little bit more than 6. The Guardians are spending $94 million on their entire roster. You wanted them to spend, so did I. They have spent on their starting rotation. They have spent on basically one side of the ball, if you were using football as a complementary, right? So it's $109 million, and the Guardians are $94 million on their entire roster. Okay. So very, very important. Love what the Verlander signing is all about. Started terribly a year ago for San Francisco. Over his last 62 innings, he did strike out 60. So he's got the stuff. He went 6 or more innings 6 times. He went 7 or more innings 3 times. And again, like I said, you don't need this guy to go complete games. That doesn't matter to you, I don't think, and it doesn't matter to me all that much. I've moved past that. I don't expect a Denny McLain or Mickey Lolich type outing. I mean, Justin Verlander only has 26 complete games in his career, you guys. So anybody, in 20 seasons, 26 complete games. Okay, so let's not get too crazy about, this is what he's that's not where he is at this age. To put it in perspective, 26, Denny McLain, when he first saw Young and was the MVP in 1968, he threw 28 complete games that single season.
Jeez.
He threw more complete games in a single season, than Justin Verlander has in his 20-year career.
Than a Hall of Famer did in his Hall of Fame career. That's outrageous.
And by the way, he followed that up with 23 complete games the next year.
Lord. Let me ask you this, Shep. Don't you think, because I saw this yesterday and it kind of changed my thinking. Don't you think that Justin Verlander coming back is perfect for A.J. Hinch's managerial style right now?
Oh, absolutely.
Because he can throw 4 innings and you can still get a really quality start out of him and then pitching chaos, right? What everyone loves. But you now have another quality starter.
Yes.
Who doesn't necessarily need to go deep in innings and won't be asked to go deep in games, rather. Won't be asked to, right? So that's why I find it so interesting. And it comes on the heels of the Reese Olson news. So this could be perfect timing.
I think it's a great point. by you. That's exactly how AJ Hinch likes to use his pitchers. Okay. It's just, I heard people yesterday, and he's going to go longer into games and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, no, he's not. And that's okay. We don't, right. You have to move past that. If an older guy like me can move past it, you should be able to move past it. So as I mentioned, Verlander, 26 career complete games. McClain, 28 and 68. Lolich, 29 and 71. Bob Gibson in 68 and 69, 28 and 28 respectively. That's not the way it's played anymore. And that's okay for a guy like this. Do I want Tarek Skubal to start more games, or finish more games, throw more complete games? Yeah, I do. I think that's okay to expect a guy who's making $32 million and will eventually make at least 40 to throw more than one complete game in his career. Call me crazy, but I think that's a fair expectation, okay? Shep, come on, he strikes out a lot of guys. You're right, Bob Gibson didn't. My bad. Denny McClain did. That's my fault, okay? How stupid of me. How ridiculous of me. I mean, Framber Valdez signed for $32 million. You know how many complete games he threw last year? 2. That was tied for the league lead. You know how many he's thrown in his career? 9. Okay, so what? Let's move on. Whatever. The bottom line is, this is a Verlander signing where he's going to be able to do these things at 6 innings, maybe 7 innings. He's thrown 100 pitches or more 6 times last year. All right. So at age 42, he did that. At age 43, am I expecting it? Not necessarily, but I do love the come full circle moment, not from an emotional standpoint. There's something about a player playing his entire career for one organization. I love that. But I don't expect it. I'm okay with Justin Verlander leaving Detroit, winning 2 World Series, winning 2 Cy Youngs. Good for him. All right? He gave us everything he could in 13 years in Detroit. Everything. Now he's coming back. I want him back because I think he's good at the back end of your rotation. I don't want him back because this is where he started. That doesn't matter to me. If he were signing a one-day contract, maybe, which those things don't do anything for me either. But I'm to the point in my life where I want good players, not good storylines.
Can he
it's
still
great if
help
I get
you
both.
win?
If I get both, that's awesome. Okay. But why is it? We follow college athletics, and we got a traditionally rich basketball team at Michigan State, a traditionally rich football program at Michigan. How often do you look at where those players are from? He's coming home. It might mean more because Mateen Cleaves was a Flintstone. It might mean more because of Jason Richardson and coming from Saginaw. It might mean a little bit more for certain guys. Miles Bridges from Flint. That's cool. But deep down inside, does it matter to you where Jeremy Fears is from?
Right. If a guy's from Sacramento, California, but he wins Player of the Year for Michigan State, are you really gonna cry and whine that he's from California?
People at Michigan just retired Trey Burke's number. He's not from the state. He's from Ohio. But you know what? He's a Wolverine. You were so proud when the Big Ten Player of the Year, Nick Stauskas, was announced. He's from Canada. It doesn't matter.
One of my favorite examples of this in recent history, or somewhat recent history, it was a decade ago, but different sport. When Kevin Garnett went back to the Minnesota Timberwolves, right?
Anything is possible?
He went back and he played 5 games in his first season back, 38 games in his second season back that he retired. And those teams were terrible. He was not going back to chase a ring. He was going back to just settle down, retire, finish where it started. That's not what this is. The Tigers are real contenders. Justin Verlander, if he just wanted to come back and settle down where it all started, he would have done it 2 or 3 years ago when the Tigers still weren't good. And he would have just came back and been like, this is
I don't think
the end of my career.
Makes this signing. I don't think he signs on that dotted line if he doesn't think he can win.
That's what I mean. He's still pitching at a high enough level to contribute to winning, and the Tigers now fit the bill there.
Players aren't going, for the most part. That's a good example of Kevin Garnett. Players, for the most part, aren't going back to a place for the sake of going back, unless they think they can win. It's different with Andrew McCutchen going back to Pittsburgh. It felt right, all this other stuff, right? He was going to play every day and so on and so forth. Justin Verlander is going back to the Tigers, not so he can have a swan song, not so he can put on the English D in front of cameras and everybody can take
That's
these
exactly
still
my
pictures
point.
and so on.
Yes.
He's going back because he's like, this team's got a chance to win the American League. This team's got a chance to get to the World Series. I've got an opportunity to get a third ring. That's the reason he's doing it. It's not because suddenly somebody from Grand Blanc is in row 15 and has worn his jersey ever since he was drafted out of Old Dominion. This is the reason. And it's okay for him to do that. I applaud him for doing that. I'm glad that he views this team as a contender and wants to come back. Now go perform. That's what it's all about. Our phone number on the Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. Just starting off and rolling on a Wednesday here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Grocery shopping at Meijer is a good deal better with family favorites for under $2, like red seedless grapes for $1.88 per pound. General Mills Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Honey Nut Cheerios, just $1.99 each. And select varieties of Meijer pasta are only $1 each. Great family meals at a great value. That's the good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Can I just say real quick, I did not expect to go here, but I saw this. This is sometimes social media can be the bane of our existence. Sometimes it's awesome. I saw this late last night. Caleb Williams is the most bet on player to win MVP in 2026.
Wow.
He's not even the best quarterback in the division, let alone the conference, let alone the league. It's not that I don't like him. I don't know him. What do I give a crap? He's a Chicago Bear. Who cares? I don't. Do you think it's two throws, Trent? Do you think it's two throws that has thrust him into our imagination of being one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League?
I think it's largely two throws, yes, but I also think it's the Bears winning 11 games last year and giving people, or was it 12? Shoot, I can't even remember.
11. They won 11.
So winning 11 games, if the Bears can win the division again with a first-place schedule and he has good numbers, I could see why people would think he would win MVP. Mm-hmm. But that's jarring to me as well that he's number one in that regard.
What is it? And that's based on DraftKings, by the way. Okay. So there are different. You use different.
Right. Different sports books and, different people throw different money around. Right.
But what is fair question? And I don't know what the right answer is. If there is a right answer, what numbers associated with a quarterback are most important to you?
Yeah, I think, okay, so for me, of course, yards thrown, you have to throw for around at least 4,000 yards to win MVP. Give me a break. You have to. And then
No, I'm not talking about MVP. I'm sorry. I'm talking about just to be considered a rock solid quarterback.
Touchdown to interception ratio for me.
Okay. All right. Really good. Okay. Now there's a specific suggestion. Okay. Which I like that. In the words of Mike Singletary, I like that kind of party. Yeah. So touchdown to interception ratio for Caleb Williams is pretty good. It is. It's pretty good. 27 touchdowns, excuse me, which ranked 6th in the National Football League, and 7 interceptions. That's it. 7 picks. Pretty damn good. Jared Goff threw 8. So tell me where I'm off base here. Here's part of the problem. For me, anyway, I believe completion percentage should matter.
That's where I was going to go next, so I totally agree with you. Yeah.
So completion percentage, let me give you the best completion percentages from 2025. Drake May, Brock Purdy, Josh Allen, Jared Goff. I'm not throwing in Kyler Murray. He played 5 flipping games. Sorry.
Doesn't qualify.
Okay. Daniel Jones, 13 games. Sam Darnold, 17 games. So I think it's fair to put Sam Darnold in there. Caleb Williams is 7th in yards, 34th in completion percentage, 58%. I try not to read too much into it. I think it's a big part, too much because there are throwaways that you have. Sometimes the throwaways are really good play, right? I remember the game against Los Angeles. Clean pocket, interception. Fourth quarter, or no, it was the overtime game. It was the overtime.
Yep.
Fourth quarter, he's got a clean pocket. He's got all day. He throws. I don't know if DJ Moore ran the wrong route, but the ball wasn't even close. I think we were looking at 2 plays for Caleb Williams and getting enamored with it. Helps to have Ben Johnson as your offensive coordinator.
I understand the reason for the excitement. I understand the reason for the optimism, but for him to be number one, that's where it gets me a little bit. You still got Mahomes in his prime. You still got Josh Allen in his prime. Both those guys coming off.
Lamar Jackson's in his prime.
All
Matthew
coming off
Stafford.
disappointing ends to their season, right? They have all the motivation in the world to go put up great numbers. So to be number one as Caleb Williams is a little jarring, but I could see why he'd be like in the top 10.
I would just remind everybody Drake May.
Yeah, there you go.
Finished really close to Matthew Stafford. Justin Herbert, who got a vote, and I mean you could say it was the wrong vote, but Justin Herbert pretty good with the Chargers, and if healthy, that offensive line will put up big numbers, okay? In addition to that, I might add, you're going to have other guys bounce back like Joe Burrow, but you're putting Caleb Williams. Of course, remember, a year ago, people were saying Jordan Love is going to be that guy. Who's the best quarterback in the NFC North?
Jared
we
Goff.
know who it's not. We know who it's not, okay? We know who's last.
9.
9 is last. How would you rank them?
Goff, Love, Williams, McCarthy.
I think I would do the same thing. I do wonder how we feel about Jordan Love, who, for the most part, I would argue, I mean, he's thrown for over 4,000 yards in his career. His touchdown to interception ratio is pretty damn good. Last year was 23-6. Year before was 25-11. Year before that was 32-11. Not a huge fan. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. He sure as hell isn't in the same realm as past Green Bay quarterbacks yet. He's a young guy, all right? I shouldn't say that. He's a young guy in terms of
Experience.
football
Years
experience.
played. Yeah. And that to me,
he's going to be 28 this year. Think about that.
Right. He's not that much younger than Goff is. If you think
I
about
know.
it like that. And that to me, the Love versus Williams at 2 and 3, that's the biggest debate here, in my opinion.
Sure.
Because I still think Goff clears. He's just proven too much for me to put him any lower than 1. But I think, I mean, if someone wanted to argue that Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love right now, I'd listen. I don't believe it right now, but I'd listen.
Who's won more games in a single season? Caleb Williams or Jordan Love?
Ooh, is it Love?
It is not.
Okay, so there you go. So
Caleb Williams just won 11 games. Jordan Love has never won more than 9 games in a regular season.
Wow.
He was 9-8 in 2023. He was 9-6 2 years ago. He was 9-5. Him as a starter. He was 9-5-1 last year. Remember, Malik Willis came in for Green Bay.
Yeah, that's right.
So before you get to the Shep, wait a minute. Green Bay won. No, hold on. I said him as a starter. Okay. So he's never won more than 9 games as a starting quarterback. There's food for thought regarding Caleb Williams. That's all. I'm just bringing that up. I just found it very odd that, according to DraftKings, that he is, the number 1 bet on MVP.
Yeah, I agree. That doesn't really seem right.
We are waiting. I don't know when it's going to rear its, what I would guess, its ugly head. I'm worried the longer it takes regarding the suspensions for the Pistons. So here's my question to you. How long of a suspension could you understand? How much will be too much? And here's the reason I ask that. DeMarcus Cousins, a little bit, words of Kramer and Seinfeld, a little out there. He said 25 games.
Yeah, it's a
for
lot.
Isaiah Stewart.
It's too many.
Now, I want you to think about this for a second. If that were the case, and I don't believe it will be, I think that's excessive. If that were the case, that would take him all the way up until 5 games remaining on your schedule. My guess is 10. And that's a lot. But my guess is 10. And it is interesting. I brought this up yesterday. What's interesting to me is that so many of us, yours truly, feel like had he been available against the Knicks, Detroit beats the Knicks in the series. And we bemoaned that because he was injured. This is a little different because it's regular season. But if you lose him for 10 games and you drop back in the standings, and I'm not saying they're going to lose the Eastern Conference. Pretty convinced that they're the best team in the conference, and I'm very convinced that they'll be the number 1 seed. Although Cleveland has been playing well, okay, they've got that Batman and Robin crap. Anybody who says Detroit doesn't have the Robin, well, you got Donovan Mitchell, and you've got Evan Mobley, and you've got James Harden. I mean, Harden may be a sieve on defense, but I mean, he's a turnstile there. But they've got a 1-2 punch. Am I wrong there?
No, and they made the move to do it, which, to these Pistons fans that I don't necessarily agree with, but the ones who wanted the Pistons to be more aggressive at the deadline, that's, fuel to the fire.
But there's your Robin. Okay. I'm not saying I want him. I'm just telling you there's their Robin, and they're playing good ball. They're 30. It's not like there's anything they should be embarrassed. They've won 4 in a row, 9 of 10, and they're 12 games over 500. That's pretty damn good. Detroit's running away with it. That's how good they are at 39-13. But the other teams, Boston, New York, Cleveland, they're not having bad seasons. And Detroit's going to be in Toronto tonight. They're 10 games over 500. They've been playing good ball. My point is, if you're saying that last year he was a difference maker in a 5-game series, what's it going to be over the next 10 games? And if they do stay afloat and they over 10 games go 7-3, does that scream to you that his effectiveness is overblown? Or do you think, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah, I do. I think the negativity would be louder if they
fell apart. If they went 3-7,
yes.
I wonder how many people who love what he did from an intimidating standpoint, although I don't think Miles Bridges was intimidated at all.
Didn't look like it.
I didn't like what Miles Bridges did. I thought it was bullcrap. I hope he gets a heavy fine and a heavy suspension. But it's not like he was backing down. So I had this debate yesterday with Darren McCarty, a friend of mine. And he's like, Shep, you don't get it. This is his role. He's the enforcer. Everybody knows it now. I said, people knew it before. Everybody knew who he was. It's not that I don't like him. I like him a lot. I love what Rick Mahorn brought. I likened this year's Pistons team to the 2004 team more than anything else. Okay? Because let's face it, the bad boys had stars. Isaiah Thomas was a star. Joe Dumars was a star. Dennis Rodman wasn't yet. Okay? They had their roles. Rick Mahorn played that role. It's a different style of basketball today. They're going to target you. You don't think they targeted the bad boys? You're damn right they did. They knew exactly. That's why they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And Detroit played up to it, which was great. And I have no problem with the Pistons playing up to it now, but understand, when you're on the floor, it's one thing. Leaving the bench is something different. And if you think you're trying to send a message to the rest of the NBA that I believe was sent a year ago and has already been sent in the first 50 games, you don't need a couple of more to do it again. I mean, at what point are we going to say the message has been sent, or do we always have to send it for every game? Seems a little strange to me. The NBA might be sending you a message. And therein lies my concern. The NBA might say, you know what? Here you go, tough guy. I don't like it. I don't think it's wrong. If they were to do something excessive like that, I would wonder, would they do that to anybody in Los Angeles or Boston or New York or Oklahoma City or San Antonio? Or and maybe I shouldn't even use the last two as examples because we use them as smaller markets all the time. Why would the NBA need those smaller markets to be so good? Because Victor Wembanyama is so good, and he was last night. Because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is so good, and he has been for the last 3 years. That's my worry. My worry is, holy crap, man. If they use Detroit as an example, how much is that going to affect this team? Now, this team may, tighten that chin strap a little bit and say, screw you. We don't care what you do to our brother. We're going to play for our brother. And when he comes back, it's going to be, seamless. Pick up right where we left off. Us against everybody. That could be the case.
And you'll have to ask Tim Hardaway about this at 8:18 because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he predicted around 14 games. So not quite as excessive as what DeMarcus Cousins thinks, but I mean, he thinks Isaiah Stewart could miss more than 10 games. So that would be a good chunk of time.
Yeah. I just worry a little bit considering everybody's belief that he's that important to this team. if you lose a guy for that extended amount of time. 5 games is one thing, right, Trent? Losing somebody for 10, 15 games, that is a heavy blow. Somebody actually said to me yesterday, what difference does it make? He needs some rest anyway. Well, hold on a second. You got the All-Star break coming. Go to Cancun. There's your rest. I can't believe they're doing everything they can to justify what has been done. The means, if it's a big if, it's as excessive as some people are predicting, does not justify it. Our phone number on the Meijer hotline, 866-838-4843. You can text the program, Sports Radio 21,000. As always, Freddie on cue, helping us out. Absolutely love the signing of Verlander for this team. It would be nice to see a former star in town actually win a title here for Detroit instead of being us as fans being pissed off or rooting and watching them win someplace else. Well said. Troy Melton is the starter, not bullpen, so I don't care how much Flaherty makes. He sucks again. Moving to the pen, not Melton. Excuse me. I love Melton's stuff. I'm not expecting a Cy Young performance from Jack Flaherty, but I'm expecting better things from Jack Flaherty. I don't expect him to. I think he's going to be a more effective pitcher. If you had to move somebody to the bullpen, that's a really good question. Drew Anderson for me, but whatever. Now go get Mike Trout, and Al Avila won the Verlander trade. Go get Mike Trout. Can you imagine what would the payroll be for that? I forget how much he makes. He makes somewhere in the neighborhood of 40-something million, right? I believe. Trent, you can back me up on that. I mean, that would be out. I would go nuts. That would be fantastic. But that's not going to happen considering his contract situation. Yes, I know he's going to be 34. He's still productive. And you put him in right field. Now you're getting me thinking a lot of stuff there, Freddie. The problem probably is more that he's going to make $37 million all the way through 2030. This year, he's going to make $37 million. I said about 40. He's at $37 million. That would be all in, though. If you had one pick from the past, who is the one Detroit star you wished you could see him win a title in Detroit? Verlander, Stafford, Grant Hill, or Dino Ciccarelli? Wow, what a tough question. That's as good a poll question as we've got. This is strictly personal. For me, it would be Grant Hill. I thought Stafford went through a lot of crap. Grant Hill went through a ton of crap. Rick's son, Doug Collins, bad teammates, right? It would have been Grant Hill. Dino Ciccarelli's in that conversation because he was just on the cusp. He was on the edge of that. It's a really good question, though, Freddie. Thanks for that. Appreciate it, as always. Appreciate your text. Sports Radio 21,000. Hour number 2 right around the corner. No bowl game in Detroit. Your thoughts. Get to that after this. Brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact that Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Trent Valley here, and as I report this on a Tuesday night, there's still no word on the elephant in the room. How many games will Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren be suspended for their melee with the Charlotte Hornets on Monday? The Pistons All-Star center got into a physical spat with Hornets forward Moussa Diabate, and then all hell broke loose with Stewart sprinting from the Detroit bench onto the floor to back up his teammate. The concern here, aside from courtside fan safety, is that Stewart could miss a good chunk of time, and with formidable opponents on the near schedule in the San Antonio Spurs and defending champion OKC Thunder, you'd like to see how you size up with the big dogs in the West at full strength. These could be potential NBA Finals previews. I'll be shocked if either Pistons big suits up Wednesday night against Toronto, the final game before the All-Star weekend.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. We'll be right back after this break, but while you're waiting, be sure to vote on our daily poll question presented by MitchLyonsWealth.com at XB Mornings on X.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Thanks for being with us on this Wednesday. There is a trend taking place in college football these days. Although maybe it's not enough for us to be convinced of that, but it sure seems like it. No bowl games of what many people would say inconsequential bowl games. All right. Detroit has had a bowl game for 29 years. It has been called in the past the Cherry Bowl. That was at the Silverdome. The Motor City Bowl, the Little Caesars Bowl, the Quick Lane Bowl, the Game Above Sports Bowl. And they've decided that the last champion was in 2025. Unfortunately for Chippewa fans, it was not Central Michigan. All right. So that's kind of the way it goes. Toledo won it a couple of years ago. All right. 2024, the MAC, way to go. This past season, another MAC team tried, couldn't get it done. It is the third bowl to fold in the past year. Okay. The LA Bowl and the Bahamas Bowl. And I wonder how people feel about that. Ford Field put out a statement. We can confirm that we will not host a bowl game at Ford Field in 2026. With the end of our current naming rights partnership with Game Above, we felt this was the right time to adjust our focus to invest in sports at all levels at other entertainment events. We would like to thank everyone who made the bowl game a success, especially you, the fans. Now, this can be a very divisive topic. There are a lot of people who feel like, you know what? Who cares? Who cares about these bowl games? Well, that's because you're not a student athlete at a school other than perhaps one would be at a Power 4 school. And I said this right around the time of the Game Above Sports Bowl. I actually said there's going to be a lot of people who don't care. Now, I care because it's Detroit. I care because I've been associated with that bowl game for a while now, and I've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed working with people at the Lions and people at Ford Field. I think they put on a really good bowl game, and you had about 30,000 people there. I don't know what the impact is to the city of Detroit. Canceling the bowl games, and this is going to become more common. And I said this just this past December. I said the people who make fun of these games don't want them, say there's too many of them. I get it. It costs some schools money. It's not like many of the bowl games who are sponsored, those sponsors get a ton out of it. I think it's done primarily just because you want college football. I've always been, obviously, I'm in the minority here. I've always been concerned about the smaller schools that will never play for a national championship. MAC schools won't play for a college football national title. They're not going to be one of the 12. All right. You and I both, I think you know that. I know that. We should all know that. This is broken down. I'm not saying they should. So please don't take it out of context here. All I'm telling you is that you would like something to be done or something for, at least I would, the teams and the kids who go and play at the mid-major schools, to give them an opportunity to play as long as they possibly can, to put a trophy in their school's trophy case. It's not an easy thing to do. You're basically telling kids at the American Football Conference or the American Conference, whatever it is, you got no chance at winning a national title. All right. Although Tulane did make the 12, but remember that everybody bitched about that. In all likelihood, Charlotte's not getting there. Temple's not getting there. That kind of stuff, right? It's just the ACC. It's the Big 10. It's the Big 12 and the SEC. You and I both know that. Conference USA, okay? Liberty. I don't care. Pick a team, for crying out loud. The MAC, our regional schools. The Mountain West, Boise State. You're not one of those 12, or maybe when they expand, okay? Maybe not one of those 20, 24, whatever the case may be. You're SOL. You're out of luck. At least these bowls gave these kids another month to practice with one another and give them a chance to prepare for their last game and give their school an opportunity to say, you know what, this is what we did. We actually did win something. You may not be able to get us into the national championship game because of our conference and because of the size of our school, but it doesn't matter. We still have student athletes who care, who love the sport, and have done a good job. That's what I wanted to see. Yes, there are probably too many bowl games. I get it. If you got sponsors who are willing to sponsor it, I'm not sure how much that should really matter to any of us. You don't want to, you think, oh, it's ridiculous to have a bowl game in Detroit. Nobody wants to come here. You would be wrong there. There's a lot of schools when they come to Detroit and they see what we're all about and they see the giving in so many with Great Harvest. They partake in some of the other events, Foaling, for example. They see the Henry Ford Museum. They experience our culture. And it actually does matter to them. I'll tell you, man, in my association with this, for what it's worth, and I know some people will be like, oh, give me a break. But from my association with this bowl game, I can tell you, honestly, that there were a lot of coaches and members of their staffs who came up to me and said, you guys put on a first-class event. They didn't have to. They didn't have to come up and say that. They could have just gone on the field and said, you know, let's play the game. Let's play this last game and then we're done. They could have done that. But they didn't. They actually sought me out and said, thank you for everything. Pittsburgh and Toledo did it a year ago. The folks at Central Michigan were really appreciative of all the things that they experienced. They were very happy with what their kids partook in, if you will. And the folks at Northwestern felt the same way. Northwestern got a chance to play in a bowl game, a chance to win that game, and a chance to put that trophy in their brand new football stadium. I handed the trophy to them. I saw the emotion on their face. I felt the pride they had in winning it. May not mean much to you. I get it. It wasn't a laughingstock. It was an extension of their football lives. And I wish we had more of it. Not necessarily more bowl games, but that kind of feeling. Instead, fans feel like, well, if we're not playing for a national title, it's not worth it. My guess is 10 years from now, you're going to look back and say, you know, I kind of miss some of those bowl games in the lead up to all that. I know I'll feel that way. Phone number on the Meijer hotline, 866-838-4843. We're back in a moment. We're brought to you this hour by Meijer.
Make Valentine's Day a good deal better with sweet deals on From the Heart gifts and treats. Spend $24.99 or more on select fresh flowers and enjoy free Meijer home delivery with M-Perks. Select Valentine's candy is buy one, get one 50% off. And Valentine's Day exchange cards are 25% off. Everything you need for Valentine's Day in just one stop. That's the good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The huge show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
they enjoy targeting myself in these hearings a lot because of the fact that we're seeking what they consider to be extraordinary positions. Skubal's 3 times eligible. DeGrom's 3 times eligible because DeGrom was a Super 2, but he didn't have the automatic right that Skubal had at 5 MLS, which we replied on, look, this is a right structure. This is not about raises. It's not about times eligible. They're not in the CBA.
That's Scott Boras. He is Tarek Skubal's agent. He's a different cat, but he gets a lot of money for his clients and for himself, but he gets a lot of money for his clients. It's hard to argue with that. Who's more powerful, him or Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball?
I mean, the right answer is probably him because there's no salary cap.
Well, yeah, I hear that all the time, and I get why people fall into that trap. There is a taxable, there is a luxury tax, which to me often screams salary cap.
But if a guy doesn't give a crap about it, which
there's
the
a
Dodgers
reason that certain
doesn't.
teams don't go as high as the Dodgers. There's a reason. There's not a quote-unquote cap written, but if you don't think there's an unwritten salary cap, you haven't followed baseball long enough. Teams are not going to a certain point before they hit a luxury cap, and they've got to start paying on how much more money they are paying over that. That is, in all essence, a luxury cap. When you hit a certain level, and then you have to start paying on anything over that level, that's as close to a salary cap without saying salary cap as you're going to get. So it may not be written in the contract per se or in the documents the Major League Baseball has with the Players Association, but it is, in all likelihood, taken as a salary cap. Anyway, I think it's Boras because of the number of strong candidates or players he represents, because of how he has forced baseball to do things differently. Manfred, from a business standpoint, I get it, right? And negotiation with networks and so on and so forth. I'm not saying you and I could have done this, Trent, but he's brought in a lot more money, just like most commissioners have, a lot more money than some of the baseball commissioners prior to him. But Scott Boras is basically defending, his side for Tarek Skubal. He doesn't have to defend it. Tarek Skubal defends it. His play has defended the amount of money that he's bringing in. And you'll notice that there's not that many people complaining about this at all. And I'm not just saying about the state of Michigan or the city of Detroit. I'm talking about in sports in general. Not many people complaining that he just broke the record and in an arbitration case and is making $32 million. You know why? Because the earlier focus was on the low ball offer, not the high ball gain. And now all of that is washed away. Think about it. How many people are still talking about lowballing Tarek Skubal? Nobody. You know why? Because they signed Framber Valdez and they signed Justin Verlander. Instead of, if they don't sign either one of those guys, you and I today are still talking about how embarrassing it was that they went in with $19 million or started at 19.8. It's a moot point. There's no reason to talk about it because it's been settled. Skubal's on the dotted line, and the Tigers have shown you where they may have shown you before with a $19 million offer that they're not serious, quote unquote. They sure as hell have shown you how serious they are by signing Valdez to a 3-year deal at $38.3 million per season and Justin Verlander at a 1-year deal worth $13 million, $11 million of it deferred in 2030. That's serious stuff. So credit where credit is due. Quick text. Instead of these buffoons, getting rid of bowl games, they should concentrate on more reasonable matchups that make sense, not just by conference or record. Western going to the Bahamas Bowl was stupid. They should have played here. Bowl games are a staple in sports, just evolve with putting teams in the right bowl games, not making families travel thousands of miles. Now, I agree with that for the most part. Okay. And I forget, did Western go to the Bahamas Bowl? I thought it was a different bowl. But either way, I mean, Eastern's been there once. It's a nice getaway. It costs your program a lot of money to go there. You're not making that up. You could make the argument families would go to the Bahamas, but are they going to go someplace close? But it's at least the Bahamas gives you a reason to go, is what I'm saying. But I agree with the text. Remember, Central Michigan came to the Game Above Sports Bowl. You're not going to have Western and Central there, so at least you had a local team. So keep that in mind. That's number one. Number two, it's not just families. The families will travel. It's the fan base. And yeah, should it be regionalized? Probably. Keep in mind, though, the Game Above Sports Bowl and the bowl games before that, they tried to kind of regionalize it. 2 years ago, it was Toledo and Pitt. And it was very well attended. It was like 38,000 people because it was regionalized. This year, Northwestern and Central. That's regionalized. It's not a far distance for either one of those schools to come to Detroit. So I think for the most part, you try to gain that. I would have to look at the bowl games from this past year to see exactly how much of that was regionalized in the various bowl games. So that would be, let's see. Yeah. Western didn't go to they went to the Myrtle Beach Bowl. So in Myrtle Beach, Kennesaw State, that is in Atlanta or just outside Atlanta, that's not a far trip for them. That's regionalized for them, but it's not regionalized for Western Michigan, obviously. Toledo played Louisville in the Boca Raton Bowl. Neither one was regionalized. I'm not going to go through every bowl game, but I think some, yes, others not so much. You know, Ohio went to the Frisco Bowl. That's a long trip for them. Is that worth it? You know, Miami and Fresno. Fresno going to Arizona is not a big deal. Miami going from Oxford, Ohio is a big deal. So it just kind of depends, right? I think they try to regionalize it for at least one team. It's not always easy to do that. I think the method and the whole compilation of what teams are going to go to what bowl would have had to be readjusted. Now, my guess is there's going to be more bowls that are going to say, if it's not this year or from 2025, it's going to be in 2026. And here's why. They're going to have 12 teams vying for that college football playoff again, right? Trent, they've decided 12 teams again. When it's over, when 2026 is over, that number is going to increase. How much? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if it doubled. It would not surprise me one bit if they went from 12 to 24. And if they did, the rest of the bowl games, gone. All of them. No way. You're not able to find enough teams to fill all those bowl games. Justifiably. So you're going to have 24 teams. I'm just guessing here. 24 teams in the college football playoff. Everything else, right? That's a minimum of 12 bowls. Minimum. And then advancing. You had, what did we say, Trent? 41 or 43 bowl games?
Yeah, I think it was 43 this year. Yeah.
Yeah, 43. So you've already lost 3. You're down to 40. After 2026, you're going to be down to just those college football playoffs. That's it. That's the prediction. Phone number is 866-838-4843. That's the Meyer hotline. What teams are you expecting to make the leap in the NFL next year? We'll talk of that. We've got Alex Avila coming up at 8 o'clock to talk about Justin Verlander. Tim Hardaway from the Crossover Podcast joins us at 8:18. And Craig Monroe, former Tiger, at 8:35, brought to you by Meyer.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Grocery shopping at Meijer is a good deal better with family favorites for under $2, like red seedless grapes for $1.88 per pound. General Mills Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Honey Nut Cheerios, just $1.99 each. And select varieties of Meijer pasta are only $1 each. Great family meals at a great value. That's the good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here with an invitation for everybody to join the Grand Rapids Griffins and Van Andel Institute for the Purple Community Game, which is coming up on March 13th in downtown Grand Rapids. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. And you'll have a chance to bid on limited edition Purple Griffins jerseys. You can learn more at vai.org/events.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9, throughout the great state of Michigan. We're brought to you this hour by Meijer. There is obviously a bit of a surprise that Seattle won the Super Bowl. The odds against them before the season were substantial. Nobody thought Sam Darnold could bounce back. It's an interesting question. Who do you think is the next quarterback who's been benched and traded and moved on from various teams that might pull the next Sam Darnold? Which guy would that be?
I think the best chance right now is Daniel Jones.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. I was thinking.
Although, was he traded or was he just cut and signed?
He was cut. He was let go by Minnesota. Yeah. And then signed a 1-year deal with Indianapolis.
Right. Okay.
Now, I don't know if he's going to. I don't know if he's going to re-sign with Indianapolis. I haven't read that yet. But that's an interesting one.
Okay, well, yeah, to be fair, I mean, it would have to be there. You know, I mean, that's what I'm basing it off of. It'd have to be in Indianapolis just based on the start they got off to before they got hurt.
Well,
but if you went to a pretty good start of the season.
No, I think your answer is appropriate if he goes someplace else and wins. Why does it have to be Indianapolis?
Well, just because I'm just saying I think they had a good thing going. If he goes to Vegas or something, then I'm not going to think the same.
Oh, I see what
have
you're
the
saying.
Same confidence.
In order for it to be Daniel Jones, or
yeah,
it would have to be him doing it in Indianapolis, because if he goes someplace else who needs a quarterback, well, if he went to Arizona, you don't think Arizona's ready to win.
No.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I got you. Mac Jones, a different Jones was the first name that came to my mind. Mac Jones. Success this past season, in a substitute role, and a likely opportunity for some teams to say, if I need somebody, he would be the guy. Could you envision Kirk Cousins? He's had success. He's in all likelihood moving on. Could it be Kyler Murray? He'll in all likelihood be moving on from Arizona. Those are some of the names that came to mind for me. Could it be Malik Willis? Could he be the next Sam Darnold? Something that, I think some people might talk about a little bit and might want to monitor. The primary reason I bring this up is because I'm looking for the team. CBS Sports came out with an article, and they came out with 5 teams that could make the leap in 2026. Are you ready for the 5 they chose? Here we go. 1 is the aforementioned, what Trent just mentioned, the Las Vegas Raiders. Should be significantly better in 2026 than they were in 2025. Why would we think that? Because Tom Brady suddenly is in charge? If Geno Smith's under center, do we really think they're going to be that much better? The article does educate us in this regard. They have the second most available cap space in the NFL, over $91 million to spend. If Max Crosby wants out, and he's widely considered their best player, why do we think they're going to be better? I don't know. I'm not buying the Raiders being significantly better. And remember, that's a Raiders team that went 3-14 this past season. I suppose it's a low bar. You don't have to be significantly better. You can get to 6 wins. You can be 6-11. It's still a crappy year, but you double your victory total. Number 2 is Tennessee. They have the 5th most draft capital in the league heading into the draft. They also have more cap space than any other team in football. And they've brought in Robert Saleh, of course, and you've got a quarterback who showed glimpses of what could happen. All right? Saleh, you figure, will make a difference in that team's defense. Look what he did with San Francisco. All right? Even what he did to a certain extent with the Jets while he was there. Let's look at it this way, too. Tennessee plays in a division. I mean, Houston's rock solid. You would think Jacksonville would continue. Indianapolis was a huge surprise. Is there room for them to get better? Well, from 3-14, probably plenty of room for them to get a little bit better. But because of the draft, because of the amount of cap space, and because of the impact that you would think a new head coach could have, this type of new head coach, I think it's fair to be one of those 5 teams, unlike Las Vegas. The third team, CBS Sports mentions, the Baltimore Ravens, primarily because of Lamar Jackson. Wasn't at full strength in the 9 games he played after he returned from injury. So, but they 25-8 in his 33 starts the previous 2 years. I don't think that's a large reach or a long reach. Baltimore being significantly better, I get it. They put Kansas City, who won 11 games in each of Patrick Mahomes' first 7 seasons, but finished above 500 every year since 2012, but went to 6-11 this year. With Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, I don't care if Travis Kelce comes back, but with those guys, it's hard to deny the impact they can have. The last team they bring up is Dallas. All right? It seems like Dallas is always in that conversation. So I'm not buying Dallas. I'm not buying the Raiders. Can I give you a couple other teams that I think might be there? New Orleans is one of them. I think what Tyler Shuck proved last year at the end of the season for New Orleans gives them an awful lot of hope. I think they can do some things with that team, that they've got some really good pieces, wide receiver, quarterback if he continues. I think they've got an innovative head coach. And the reason I like New Orleans to have an increased factor is because of the division in which they play. I think Atlanta's pretty good. I think they've got a lot of really good pieces. I actually think Kevin Stefanski's a good hire there. I'm not sure about Carolina, to be honest with you. And I think Tampa's going to be on the downside. I think they're going to start to trend the other way. The way they played at the end of last year should be really troubling. I think New Orleans, and they were 6-11, right? Terrible point differential, but I think it's a team that can challenge in that division with 9 wins next year. Because again, I don't think the division is all that strong. So that's one team I thought of. The other team I thought of course, is Detroit. And not just because we talked to Lions fans, but because this is a team that I hope now gets it. I hope Brad Holmes has recognized some things that, as we said yesterday, built this team, almost went into a little song there, built this city. We built this city. They built this team in the trenches. Their success of reaching the NFC Championship game was primarily because of what they had up front on both sides of the ball. Their 15-win campaign was primarily because of what they have up front on both sides of the ball. Last year, I feel like they lost their identity. They forgot from which they came. They forgot who they were. They didn't have an answer when they've got some stunning news. And they tried to plug it with inexperience. It's okay to nurture experience, I believe. But when you just want to thrust them into those situations, you run into problems. I truly believe this team, and look, it's going to be the franchise tags are February 17th through March 3rd. Then you've got the combine as a big deal on February 23rd through March 2nd. Then you've got free agency. That's a window of free agency where you can legally tamper with free agents. That's from March 9th through March 11th. And then free agency begins in earnest on March 11th before the NFL draft in April, the 23rd through the 25th. So I truly believe, that Brad Holmes and the Lions have recognized what made there's a lot of leagues are it's a copycat league. Recognize what it takes to get there. If they haven't over the last 2 years, 3 years, with their success and then failure, then they need to be replaced. I firmly believe they do know that. And it doesn't take Seattle for them to recognize it. It doesn't take Philadelphia and their offensive line to recognize it, or Kansas City and what they did with their trenches. You look back at Kansas City, for example, when they won their last Super Bowl. Besides Patrick Mahomes, who's their stud offensive player? Travis Kelce. Yeah, no kidding. Okay. It's not like they had these massive weapons on the outside and at the running back spot. Like we're fortunate. You got 2 1,000-yard receivers. You got a 2,000 combined total yardage running back when he's having a good year. You got an outstanding tight end. I hate to put it this way, but for a lack of description, do you really need all those toys when you have one football? In all likelihood, no. What you really need is those big dudes up front. And it's not just on the offensive side of the ball. If I said to you, you would have to get rid of one of, or maybe even two of your offensive weapons for a guy like Max Crosby, do you think people would accept it? If it meant you going forward with, instead of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, and Jahmyr Gibbs, and you had to lose one of those offensive weapons, or if you bring in Sam Laporta, you lost two of them for that one impact guy on the defensive side of the ball, or Tyler Linderbaum as the center for your team, would you do it? Would you give up one of your offensive weapons for the best center in football? A while ago, you probably would have said no. Now that you don't have it, Bon Jovi, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Once it's gone, then what? Then how do you feel? Suddenly those positions become a lot more important, don't they? You're damn right they do. And if you don't believe that, you should not, you must not have been paying attention to the various Super Bowls and the various champions who have played for Super Bowls. Because the primary reason for them participating in that biggest game of the year is because of those guys up front. Yes, I know every television open and every article you read and every radio host talks and every microphone is first thrust into the faces of quarterbacks and wide receivers and running backs because Kenneth Walker III was the MVP. You're not voting for the entire Seattle offensive line as MVP. Even though they kept Sam Darnold clean and paved the way for Kenneth Walker's 170-plus total yards. But you lose those guys, and suddenly you're like, man, what's wrong with us? How come we're not in that game? Then you talk to a Lions fan. What was the biggest reason Detroit didn't meet expectations? Those guys up front. Oh, yeah, we get it now, don't we? Absolutely. Via text. Next one is whoever San Francisco picks up and signs. If I were them, I would sign Zach Wilson. Well, I wouldn't. And here's why. I thought Zach Wilson was the real deal coming out of BYU. Should have known better when the Jets actually drafted him. But arm strength, what he did to defenses, very impressive. In the pros, he hasn't looked like he knows what the hell he's doing. Doesn't look like he knows how to read coverages. Based on conversations I've had with people, doesn't look like he knows how to read coverages. Doesn't look like he knows what the hell he's doing. And it's not just because he's 12 and 21. It's because he's got a 57% completion percentage and that he's thrown 2 more picks than he's thrown touchdowns. And when Miami said, and Mike McDaniel said, Tua Tagovailoa is not going to be our starting quarterback this week, they didn't go to the backup, Zach Wilson. They went to Quinn Ewers, the number 3 guy in line. That's where I kind of go. And this could have a lot to do with the fact that he burned me. He was a second overall pick in 2021. Okay? Went right behind Trevor Lawrence, right in front of Trey Lance, who some people, I mean, if you think about that, the Jets could have had Jamar Chase, could have had Patrick Surtain, could have had Micah Parsons, and they went with Zach Wilson. Could have had Penny Sewell. It's a really good trivia question someday. Zach Wilson can do that. He can sit around with all his grandkids and say, guess what? I was drafted ahead of this Hall of Famer, Penny Sewell. I was drafted ahead of this Hall of Famer, Micah Parsons. I was drafted ahead of the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith. And I was drafted ahead of this Hall of Famer, Jamar Chase. Those guys are all on pace. I'm not saying they're all are definitive, but they're all on pace for that. So I would say no to that because I don't think he's giving you any indication, at least with Sam Darnold. And I know this is what everybody likes to bring up with Sam Darnold. I'm seeing ghosts out there. He was overwhelmed against the New England Patriots. But at least Sam Darnold won 14 games last year. At least Sam Darnold in his second year with the Jets was 7-6. Okay? At least Sam Darnold in his career has thrown 40 more touchdowns than interceptions, has a winning record, completes 68% of his passes. That's the reason for it. But I respect it. I respect your opinion there. If you feel like Zach Wilson would be that guy, I wouldn't go there. Here's where we are going to go. Alex Avila is going to join us on the other side. Really excited for that because he caught Justin Verlander. How much does Verlander have left at age 43? Alex Avila can talk to us about that. He of MLB Network will join us when we come back. 8:18, Tim Hardaway Sr. We'll talk about those possible suspensions, definite suspensions, just how many, how long, and Craig Monroe, 8:35, as we dive back into the baseball discussion in the final hour of X's and Bros on a Wednesday morning. We're brought to you by Meijer.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Trent Valley here, and as I report this on a Tuesday night, there's still no word on the elephant in the room. How many games will Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren be suspended for their melee with the Charlotte Hornets on Monday? The Pistons All-Star center got into a physical spat with Hornets forward Moussa Diabate, and then all hell broke loose with Stewart sprinting from the Detroit bench onto the floor to back up his teammate. The concern here, aside from courtside fan safety, is that Stewart could miss a good chunk of time, and with formidable opponents on the near schedule in the San Antonio Spurs and defending champion OKC Thunder, you'd like to see how you size up with the big dogs in the West at full strength. These could be potential NBA Finals previews. I'll be shocked if either Pistons big suits up Wednesday night against Toronto, the final game before the All-Star weekend.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
Make Valentine's Day a good deal better with sweet deals on from the heart gifts and treats. Spend $24.99 or more on select fresh flowers and enjoy free Meyer home delivery with M-Perks. Select Valentine's candy is buy one, get one 50% off. And Valentine's Day exchange cards are 25% off. Everything you need for Valentine's Day in just one stop. That's the good life at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. We'll be right back after this break, but while you're waiting, be sure to vote on our daily poll question presented by MitchLyonsWealth.com at XB Mornings on X.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
No catcher in baseball history has caught more innings from Justin Verlander than Alex Avila, the All-Star, the Silver Slugger, the man who played over 1,000 games in Major League Baseball and an outstanding analyst for MLB Network, joins us here on X's and Bros. Alex, always good to visit with you. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. So Justin Verlander comes back to Detroit. He spent his first 13 years here, as did you with him. What was your initial reaction to it?
Oh, I was extremely excited for him. I was actually just recently, a few days ago, was talking with him. So, and up until, when I last talked to him, there wasn't much headway as far as, something getting done, this quickly. He had told me, there were, several teams kind of calling, kind of kicking the tires and just kind of trying to kind of figure out their situation before kind of pivoting to him. So he was just kind of waiting. And then, and that was kind of like the last, I understood kind of how his free agency was going just a few days ago. So this obviously, came together pretty nicely. And yesterday was a really a nice surprise, just kind of seeing that unfolded for him. I'm happy for him for the opportunity, because I know he's talked about it with me on several occasions, like really, wanting to go back to Detroit and pitch there again. What's he got left, do you think? He'll be 43 in 8 days, I believe. 9 days. Yeah. What's he got left? It's amazing, Shep, isn't it? Yeah. But I mean, when, watching him pitch, last year, he still has incredible above average stuff. Like when you're, he's still throwing in the mid to upper 90s with a good breaking ball, good slider, good curveball. And, he ran into some bad luck early on in that year, with the Giants, a few leads kind of lost late in the game for him when he came out. He had the pec injury early in the year. But then, really his last 13, 14 starts, the second half of that season, he pitched incredible. Not just for, a 42, 43-year-old, but just, for any good major league pitcher. I mean, he had a run in the second half that you could probably put up there with, the top 10, top 15 guys in the game as far as his effectiveness, down the stretch for the Giants in that second half. So I've got no doubts that he can be a big contributor for the Tigers rotation. And knowing Justin, and you've been around him a bunch, like he would not be doing this if he didn't feel he could be maybe not like what he was in his prime, but at times a dominant pitcher and someone that's going to give them a chance to win. I've talked about this before with other people, like, obviously the Tigers have a team to go to the playoffs. Like he sees himself as being one of those guys making a playoff start. And he expects himself to pitch that way. So if he didn't think he could pitch at that level, he wouldn't still be playing. Yeah, people need to remember he made 29 starts last year. That was the most he's made since 2019, and he logged 152 innings. And I know that's not a lot by yesterday's standards, but that's more innings pitched than Casey Mize, who I like a lot. Alex Avila caught 850 and 2/3 of Justin Verlander's career here in Detroit. Nobody has caught more. He of the MLB Network, an outstanding analyst, joining us here on X's and Bros. And everybody wants to know. Because they love the emotional attachment. We love you guys because of what you've been able to do, which is great. That's not what I look at. Maybe this is me getting older in my years. I look at who's going to help me win. I think he can help you still win because he's quote unquote slotted in the right part of a rotation. Do you think this is emotional from the Tigers, or do you think this is strategical because he still has what he has? Well, the beautiful part about this is that it plays both with the nostalgia of what he's done in the Tigers uniform and for Tigers fans, but it also fills a need, and one that I think AJ Hinch and Scott Harris think that that Justin is not just going to we're not just bringing Justin in because it's a feel good story, that he's expected to help us, get to where we want to get to, playoffs and eventually win a World Series. So I think that's the beauty of this, because so many times you see this happen where, a great player comes back for kind of like a swan song. But this is not really the case. Just for Justin, it's, like I said, he would not be doing this if he didn't think he could, really make an impact in this rotation. And not, quite honestly, I don't think, the Tigers and Scott Harris would have entertained this if they didn't think he had the ability to do that as well. The way that, Scott has been making decisions, as far as like the roster construction, has proven to be, very, valuable for the Tigers over the last few years, to put them in a position to have gone to the playoffs the last couple of years and be the favorites going into this season for the AL Central. So, you have to commend that. And I don't think they would be doing this, as just a feel-good story. There's too much on the line, I think, with this talented Tigers team to do that. So, Justin's coming in to be a major contributor for this rotation.
I love what they have. I think we've gone a little bit overboard in Detroit about the best pitching staff. I still think Seattle and Toronto have better starting pitching. I love Seattle with Castillo and Kirby and Wu and Gilbert and Bryce Miller. But this lengthens their starting rotation. Somebody asked me this yesterday. He also provides that veteran leadership that they need. I don't know if that's the case because, Tarik Skubal's 29. Framber Valdez has been around a little bit. How much of a factor do you think that plays, just being a clubhouse presence and being a pitching staff presence, because you know how hard he works? That dude is an absolute horse getting his body ready for a long season.
Yeah, well, it's presence, and there's a gravitas, to Justin when he walks into the clubhouse, and but like you said, obviously Tarik is won the Cy Young back-to-back years, has pitched really well in the playoffs. Framber Valdez, his resume speaks for itself as far as what he's done the regular season and the playoffs, and the Tigers have shown that, the last couple of years getting into the playoffs, last year getting to the championship series, their players have matured and have taken those kind of next steps in how to manage a 162 game season. I think Justin just kind of adds to that, as far as like when things are getting tough, when you're going through that grind of the season, to kind of stay the course, not to panic. And, when you have a veteran, when you're adding a veteran like that understands that, it helps those guys that, maybe not have gone through it as much, but still have that kind of experience, to be able to withstand those struggles over the course of 162 games. But I do know, last year, Buster Posey kind of, quietly talked about it, amongst, baseball circles, that, he was extremely impressed on, Justin's ability to kind of play that mentor role, with guys, even guys that have been in the league, and had success in the league. So, that it's definitely a role that he's taken to over the last, few years at the end of his career here. Because one, he knows what he needs to do himself to be ready to pitch. So that allows him to give some of that time and knowledge to other guys that are also still trying to figure it out.
Love the insight, man. So greatly appreciated. You do such a great job on MLB Network. I've said that time and time again. I say it because I mean it, and it's true. Thanks for a few minutes of your Wednesday morning with us. Keep up the great work, my friend. Hope to talk to you again soon down the road.
Appreciate it, Shep. Anytime.
You bet. Make sure your dad says, give my best to your dad. Good man. Just a wonderful man, Alex Avila and Al Avila, with us here on X's and Bros. Good stuff. Thanks, Trent. Appreciate you being able to reach out to Alex Avila and his willingness to come on a Wednesday morning. We got a busy 8 o'clock hour.
Great stuff from Alex there. That was awesome.
Yeah. He's so good. I know why people always say catchers are the smartest. They're like offensive linemen, right? Make great analysts. He is a great analyst. And I mean that. He sees things that not everybody sees. Outstanding in the TV booth. I think, he did a really good job on radio for the Tigers for a short period of time. If I were the Tigers, he would be my number one guy. but he lives in Florida, so that's the hard part about it. But really appreciate the time. Always appreciate the expertise. This hour is brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. When we come back, Hall of Famer Tim Hardaway Sr. joins us. What about the Pistons and their reactions the other day from Charlotte? And what about the suspensions? What is he guessing? We'll have that with you when we come back after this.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
There are a lot of big stories taking place in the NBA year after year, game after game, week after week. One of the big stories this week, for me anyway, was Tim Hardaway Jr. reached number 20, past Dirk Nowitzki for number 20 on the all-time triples list. He's got 1,995. His dad, who's a Hall of Famer and an outstanding co-host of the Crossover podcast, find that podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, had 1,542 in his career, and I didn't realize that. And he joins us here on X's and Bros. How are you, Tim?
I'm great. How you all doing?
Good. You knew that your son passed Dirk Nowitzki, I assume, right? For number 20.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to drop knowledge on you. I just found that interesting. You made more threes than I realized, because I always viewed you, fair or unfair, similar to what your podcast is named, the Crossover King, the best crossover in basketball history. Allen Iverson would be number 2. Maybe Jason Williams of the Kings would be number 3. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
But and as a crossover step back jumper or a crossover take it to the rack type of guy, I didn't realize you made that many threes in your career.
You know what? I didn't know I made that many threes in my career either. Back in those days, you shot when you was open and you wasn't contested unless you had to have a 3 or in the quarter, in the game. But other than that, unless you was wide open, you didn't shoot that many threes. One game, I think I shot about 10 threes. And Pat Riley came to me the next day and was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? We don't shoot 10 threes, not one person. Maybe Bashan Leonard or Dan Marley, but not you as a point guard." And I was like, "Oh, okay. But you know what? I found it interesting that, my son, that's the way the game is. That's the way the game has been the last, decade and a half. And they shooting threes at an unbelievable clip. And he is making them and still making them and still climbing the board right now today. And it's just remarkable how focused he is. Focus on his craft, go out there and take his craft very seriously each and every day. And, work to shoot those shots and make them.
I don't know if you guys have ever talked about this, but do you think that you and your son are among the best NBA father-son duos of all time?
You know what? We never talk about that, but if we ever did, we both would say, hell yes, we are. We one of the top duels, to do it, at a high clip, at a high level, I say, I mean, as father and son, I think, I've been trying to look and trying to find out who come close. I say Steph and Dale.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So the only other one I can think of is Michael and Klay Thompson. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Michael Thompson was a really good player. He's not a Hall of Famer like you, but he was a really good player. You can't go Bill and Luke Walton. Luke Walton didn't play enough. You can't go Doc and Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers wasn't that impactful. Those are the only ones I can think of. And it kind of came to me when I saw the other day how many triples Tim Jr. had. And I was like, man, that is something else. I suppose you could reach and go Rick and Brent Barry. That's a possibility. But I think you're right up there. Yeah. So I think you're right up there.
Right up there.
Yeah, for sure. One of the top 3 or 4 of all time in NBA history, Tim Hardaway Sr. joining us here on X's and Bros. He co-hosts the Crossover podcast with Lindsey Hunter. Find it where you get Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Spotify, that's where you get it.
All that.
Every place you go, you get your podcast. This is one. If you like basketball, if you want to talk basketball, and actually, it does bring a smile to my face because it's not always basketball. That's the beauty of it.
YouTube's the way to go, by the way, for the crossover. Those guys are hilarious. You got to see it.
Yeah, you get it. That's the best way. You're right. That's the best way, Trent. Thank you. That's the best way to really get a feel for it. Now, you know what happened in Charlotte the other night. I want your take on it.
Man. And you know what? First of all, it's embarrassing. Second of all, Isaiah Stewart, you got to control your emotions. You got to control your temper. I think he's going to get double digits. I really feel that he's going to get anywhere between 10 and 15 games. You was on the bench, and they tell you, do not come off the bench. Do not come off the bench. I mean, they highlight, do not come off the bench. They come and talk to you and tell you, do not come off the bench. He came off the bench with heating pad on his knees and ran after Miles Bridges and was throwing blows and not slapping, not trying to grab him, not trying to hold him. He was out there trying to fight. And another thing, when you say stuff like, this is what they brought me here, why you think they drafted me, stay on the bench and not go out there and fight for my teammates, the league is looking at that, and your prior history of fighting and pushing and shoving and them suspending you and them, kicking you out of games. They watching that and they listening to you and they see your face on there, demonstrative, and they take that to accountability that, we need to really, really, really make a issue out of this and show him that who's the boss and who is running this thing. And, his team might say, and his president, his coach, and this and that might say, yeah, that was fine, but, that was foolish. I would say this, Isaiah Stewart, they're not paying that fine that you're about to get. They're not going, none of your teammates will be like, yeah, I give you that 1.5 million, or I give you that 2 million, or I give you whatever you're going to lose. They're not going to say that. You're going to have to take that and eat that by yourself. And, and you're going to hurt your team because you got after the All-Star break, or before the All-Star break, after the All-Star break, you got the Knicks coming up. You got Cleveland coming up.
OKC.
You got OKC coming up. They need you off the bench. Your team needs you off the bench. And you just hurt your team by not being, and the guys and teams know that you are forced coming off the bench. They are scared of you. And now they're not going to be scared of nobody coming off your bench because you're going to be out for those games. So, yeah, I think that was not thinking on his part. And he just hurt his team and he hurt himself.
Yeah, it's easy for me to sit back in a comfy chair and say, you've got to be better. You've got to be smarter about this. But I'm not wrapped up in the emotional part. It is a fine line between establishing a physicality and getting a reputation, that referees and other players will use to goat you and then tee you up prematurely. How do you balance that, do you think? How would you have Isaiah Stewart balance something like that?
It's on him. The coaches have been talking to him. The coaches have been trying to help him be like, yo, you got to control your emotions. Look at Duncan Robinson. Look at what he did. Come on, man. You come off the bench. He like, come on, man. That's wrong. Come on now. I don't care. And I guarantee you, my man that was crazy, that everybody thought was crazy, Ron Artest, he wouldn't have came off the bench. He would not have came off that bench. He would have checked his emotions and said, you know what? I cannot come off the bench because I'm going to hurt my team. I really need to be out there. They need to feel me, and they need to feel that you messing with my teammates, but I'm not on the court. I can't do nothing about that. I got to stay here and I got to check my emotions. That's what you got to do. You got to recommend yourself. You got to talk to yourself. You got to make yourself understand that this is not right and I can't do this. And that's what you got to do. Because money is coming out your pocket. That's what you got to look at. Money is coming out your pocket that you're not going to get back. You think you're going to get back. You're not going to get that money back. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he just jeopardized a lot of money and taking food out of his family's mouth, basically.
That's basically what it is. Yep. I mean, folks, if you want good basketball discussion, you want really good insight, you get it in the Crossover podcast. Go to youtube.com. All you got to do is type in Crossover NBA Legends talking about it. Tim Hardaway Sr., Lindsey Hunter. They are part of the Crossover podcast. It's great stuff. He always delivers, as does Lindsay. Check it out today wherever you get your podcasts and make it something you do on a regular basis. Tim, thanks as always, my friend. We appreciate it. Have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Tim Hardaway Sr. joining us here on X's and Bros. Gives you a different perspective, doesn't it? Craig Monroe's perspective on the signing of Justin Verlander and where this Tigers team is at right now. He joins the program on the other side, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Grocery shopping at Meijer is a good deal better with family favorites for under $2, like red seedless grapes for $1.88 per pound. General Mills Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Honey Nut Cheerios, just $1.99 each. And select varieties of Meijer pasta are only $1 each. Great family meals at a great value. That's the good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros, 35 after the hour. I want to get to the final results of our poll question before we welcome in our friend Craig Monroe. The results of the poll question and the daily wager. Yesterday, we asked you a poll question like we do every single day. Today, we asked you, who is your home opener starter? Is it Tarek Skubal or Justin Verlander? We'll get to that coming up. And we'll also give you the daily wager, on which Trent used something last night. I assume tonight is probably Pistons and Raptors. Speaking of good basketball and big basketball fans, our friend Craig Monroe, who played in the major leagues, played behind Justin Verlander, and is super excited for the Verlander signing, joins us here on this Wednesday morning. Simo, my friend, good to have you on board. Thank you for the early morning appearance here on X's and Bros. Before we get to the Verlander discussion, you're a massive Piston fan and a massive basketball fan. What do you think the punishment will be for Isaiah Stewart coming off the bench the other night against Charlotte?
Man, well, first of all, we know his attitude. We know he's already a bad boy, so I don't think he has anything else to prove. But he's gonna ride or die for his teammates, and that's just how he's built. Now, I think it's gonna cost him. It's gonna cost him maybe 5 games, maybe 10 games, which is not actually helping the team. Actually hurts him. Yeah. So he's going to have to channel that a little bit. But I just love the way the Pistons are playing, and I just hate that this incident is going to cost them some of their players and guys that can be an intricate part of how great this season has been going.
Yeah, I agree with you. The one thing I don't want people to have that type of narration of this team being, just physical. It's a really talented team, and they win in so many different ways. So I'm with you on that. Justin Verlander coming back, 1-year deal, $13 million, $11 million deferred to 2030, which I think is brilliant on the part of the Tigers. I really do. And kudos to Justin Verlander. Initial reaction when you heard that Verlander is going to wear the Old English D in age 43.
What a great day to be a Tiger is what I saw. I was just so excited because, playing behind him, every single time I just felt like every 5th day, you just thought a no-hitter, thought something special was going to happen because he had that kind of aura. Now, everybody's going to say that he's 43, and does he still have it? Well, let's just go back to the last 13 starts in the San Francisco Giants uniform. I'd say he was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
About 2.62. I think it was about a 2.68, somewhere in there ERA. This guy's just built different. And what I really thought about right away, I'm talking about right away, I thought about Kenny Rogers. I thought about what Kenny Rogers brought to my team in 2006, 20-year anniversary, by the way. And I just think there's something in the air, the knowledge that he brings, the experience that he brings. I just feel like he can be a difference maker, not only for this organization winning games, but for these younger pitchers. The knowledge that he's going to be able to instill in these young players, I think, is going to be priceless. And they're going to get better. And this team's going to – I feel like I'm not going to just give them the World Series yet because you got to play the games. But, man, what a way to start with Framber, Valdez. Well, Tarek Skubal first, let's be honest, 2-time Cy Young Award winner. And then you add Verlander in this mix. Man, I just feel like that this pitching staff, the Chris Hillis and Scott Harris and AJ, unfortunately last year they didn't make moves when you needed them. I felt like we were right there where you just add a piece and who knows what could have happened. But they put the money where the mouth is this year, and hopefully we get a chance to raise that trophy.
Yeah, so it's an interesting comment regarding the leadership or the knowledge and things of that nature. We can all learn, right? I mean, I used to learn from you every single day, even though I was around a lot of different players and so on and so forth. How much does Tarek Skubal need when he's won back-to-back Cy Youngs without Justin Verlander? How much does Framber Valdez need when he started 188 career games? How much does Casey Mize need when he's in his late 20s? I don't know. How much does Jack Flaherty need, considering how long he's been around? I don't know, but your friend Alex Avila told us earlier today it's about a presence in the clubhouse. What does his presence in the clubhouse deliver to this team in your mind?
Well, it's the DNA that he brings, the accountability, the standards that he set. It's when you have a player, a pitcher, or a player of that stature, on your team, in your clubhouse, a guy that you can go up to every single day. You can pick his brain. It's invaluable. You have to have these kind of guys. And I think that's what his presence and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be him not necessarily changing these guys and making them better. Yeah, you talk about Scuba and his back-to-back Cy Young awards. There's still so much to be learned from Justin Verlander, the way he goes about his business. There's different things that maybe it's the work, and maybe it's something about the bullpens and how they do different things. Maybe Terry Scuba goes to a whole nother level by just having these conversations with Burr. And I think it's going to be more about the young guys. But when you have a guy that with that kind of presence, and you know every fifth day what his DNA is and how he's going to go about his business, it elevates. For me, it elevated everybody's game. And I think that's what's going to happen with Justin Verlander. I think everybody's game from pitching staff is going to be elevated, and they're going to hold themselves to a higher standard because he's going to be holding you to that same kind of standard.
We're talking with our friend Craig Monroe, played with Justin Verlander here on X's and Bros, and does a great job of analyzing the game of baseball. When you see him in his you don't necessarily see him in his off-season workouts, but you see him in his regular season workouts. That is something he's well known for. He's part of the reason he's different is because not just a bionic arm, but also because he takes care of himself. How much of a factor do you think that will be with some of the Troy Meltons of the world and the other guys who are associated with him, and even the guys who have been playing a while, to see his routine?
Well, you just feel like he's going to benefit them in that sense where he's going to show them, he's going to talk to them about their prep work, their preparation. He's going to talk to them about, even attacking hitters. He's going to show, but he's going to do it by example. It's not just talking. A lot of guys can just talk it, right? Everybody's just talking. Oh, how you got to be, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. But this guy actually walks it. And I think that's going to be more so. It doesn't even have to be verbal. It's just going to be by example. And I think that's what they're going to see. They're not just going to hear somebody talking it. They're going to actually watch a person that of his status and his caliber of pitching style. They're going to watch him. They're going to watch him lead by example. And again, that's what I always wanted from a player. Don't tell me that, you got to run hard and you don't do it. Yeah. Don't get on to me if I didn't run hard and I watch you do the same thing. Well, they're going to watch Verlander go hard every single day, get after it not only on the fifth day or whatever he pitches, but he's going to get after it in the weight room. He's going to get after it when he's out there running sprints. He's going to get after it when he's in the dugout and he's watching these hitters and pitchers. The other team, when he's going to be dissecting them, they're all going to be sitting around each other, and he's just going to be giving them a plethora of knowledge, man. So I am fired up, Shep. If you can't tell, I'm fired up about having Justin Verlander back. I talked to him a while ago, and we talked about when he wanted to be done. When he was done to be done, he wanted to end his career in that old English D. And then to see it come to fruition, to see what he told me, and to see it happening, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to death for the Tiger fans. I'm thrilled to death for this Tigers organization because I think he's still got a lot left.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. I'm happy for the fans too. I'm happy because I think he helps them win. It's not as much about him finishing his career here. That's a great side story. That's great for movies and books. I'm happy because I think he's going to help them win. That's the most important thing for this team, and it should be the most important thing for this team. What's your overall assessment with this team? Because if you want to get nitpicky, and I don't think that's necessarily fair, but when people say you're going to go all in because you went and got Framber Valdez, and now you've added Verlander with Reese Olson being out for the year, I would remind people they still are lacking that right-handed slugging bat to help Spencer Torkelson. Yeah.
Nope, I knew it, and you know what? That you're right. You're right. But you win championships with pitching and defense, and I think those three guys, the three guys that's going to lead this rotation, I think you're going to win a ton of games with those guys. Now, offensively, we do have to get better. But you got to think another year of experience for Torkelson, because I think he's a big part of this. I don't really believe that he's a 220 hitter. I think he's a lot better than that. I think he still has that 30 power home run in him. I think he's a 100 RBI kind of guy. But you also got to think about Riley Green, who, as he goes, so does this offense. Him getting a little bit lot smarter this year and maybe cutting down those strikeouts. He struck out over 200 times. That's not Riley Green. He's too good of a hitter.
Yeah.
He's too good of a player to be that same guy. So I think we're going to see him be a lot better in the batter's box. And then I'm going to mention a name that I still believe that there's more in the tank and he can be a big part. And that's Matt Vierling. I like Matt Vierling. Okay. And I think Vierling can really be a difference maker if he can get an opportunity to be consistent, healthy, and be consistent in his lineup. He does a lot of things right, stays inside the ball. He's tough to strike out. He puts the ball in play, hits it hard. Those are the guys that I'm looking forward to stepping up. And so, yes, we need that right-handed bat, but Vierling can be that right-handed bat if he can stay healthy.
That's a really good point. I don't think he adds the punch, but it's a really good point. He's a guy who does force pitchers to go deeper in counts and things of that nature. We're talking with Craig Monroe, former Tiger here on X's and Bros and current baseball analyst. How about this one? Framber Valdez is a ground ball pitcher, Simo, but their defense on the infield is not all that stellar, and we don't even know who's playing third base yet. How deep of a concern should that be for Tigers fans?
I mean, the work that they put in those ships, I mean, obviously there's concerns. We're all going to have concerns, right? We're going to have concerns about, do they have enough offense? There shouldn't be any concerns about the pitching staff. I think that starting staff is with those two guys that they added, proven that they're going to be in games. Now, defensively, there are some concerns, but I love the work that Alan Trammell does. I love the work that Joe Cora does with these infielders. I think spring training is going to be focused. It's going to be a focus point. They're going to focus more on the defense and up the middle, and just you're not asking these guys to make the extraordinary play. We're asking you to make the routine plays. Catch the baseball that you're supposed to catch. Make the outs that you're supposed to get. And I think the Tigers defense will do that. And I think that'll be enough to allow this staff and this offense to put up some runs and win some ball games. I do.
Do you think they have the best 1-2? I like Seattle, and I'm not going to lie. I like Toronto probably just a little bit more in a 1-2 punch. I like their starting staffs better overall. But how do you rank Detroit's 1-2 punch of Skubal and then Valdez? And where do you see Verlander slotted? If you had a 6-man rotation, you can never have enough starting pitching. Where do you see him slotted?
You know, I've been thinking about that since the signing, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna rank the 1-2 punch a top 3. I'm gonna say top 3 in the majors.
In the majors,
what you said, Toronto. I'm
Okay.
gonna go Toronto, Seattle, Tigers. I mean, who else can you make the argument with the 1-2 punch? I don't think there's two better guys than those guys that we have.
Yeah. I would say in the American League, you're correct. I would say if you threw in the National League, it's hard to go against Yamamoto and Ohtani. And then if you go to Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow, that's pretty damn good too, right? I mean, that's pretty deep.
but those guys are very vulnerable. Snell's he's walked 5.5, almost 6 batters a game. So I mean, I'm not sold on Sale. I mean, I'm not sold on at all.
Okay. What if I said Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo, Nola? I mean, that's going deeper than 2, but that's the Phillies. That's pretty good. Yeah. I'm just if you're talking 1-2 punch.
We're talking about World Series championship. Valdez, he brings that caliber of style pitching, pitch well in the playoffs. And then I'm talking about a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. I don't think I'd have to take the back seat to any of those rotations or those 1-2 punches that you just mentioned.
I don't. Yeah, I do not disagree with you at all. I don't. I'm thinking of other 1-2 punches though, and
there's some good 1-2 punches, and the game is in a good place with that. With that being said, pitching is at an all-time high. I believe it.
Yeah, and
that's why we're seeing a lot of the offense struggle these offensive guys are struggling because the pitching is so good right now in the major leagues.
Yeah, I think Detroit's 1-2 punch is as good as just about any. I do like Gausman, and I would take Detroit's 1-2 over Toronto's 1-2. I'd probably take Toronto staff. I think Seattle, the Dodgers, you could argue the Phillies, but I think Detroit is top 4 for sure. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Yeah. Last thing from you. How much does it help that Verlander has pitched alongside Framber Valdez, has pitched for A.J. Hinch, knowing that A.J. Hinch, the way he likes to manage, you're only asking Verlander to go 6 innings or so. That's got to help him too. How much of a factor do you think that matters?
Well, I just think that Verlander, no matter who he pitches for, who he plays for, he's going to bring. He's himself, and he brings what he brings to every team that he's been on, and that's presence. That's a bulldog mentality. I don't think it really much matters, Shepard, really about who he pitches for and who he's pitched with. He sets the standard, and he's saying, okay, boys, you can follow or you can fall by the wayside. I just think that he has that mentality that he's going to lead by example, and it's almost inevitable. It's like I want to be better than him, so they're going to keep raising the bar. Like, okay, Scooble goes out, he pitches seven shutout innings. I feel like Framber's going to come back and he's going to want to outcompete him, and he's going to try to be better. And then I think when Berg gets the ball, he's going to try to be better. So I think there's going to be some friendly, good competition going on. And so we're going to see the Tigers, pitching staff really excel this season. I really believe it.
It's good stuff, man. We'll be talking about it all season long. You and I've got some exciting news coming up. I appreciate the help, my friend. It's always good to visit with you. Say hi to the family, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Will do. Go
okay,
Tigers, baby. Here we come.
Okay. All right. That's Craig Monroe joining us, SEMO, here on X's and Bros. Let's get to the final results of the poll question and the daily wager quickly. Fire away, Trent.
Yeah, yesterday we asked, do you appreciate the Pistons' physicality? Either yes, it's the bad boys all over again, or no, it makes us a target. No surprise, 91% like it. They say yes, bad boys again.
Okay.
And we've got a poll question up for you today. XP Mornings. Who would you rather see get the opening day start in Detroit for the Tigers? Is it Verlander or Scooble? Head over there and vote. Daily wager
in Detroit. Keep that in mind. It's in Detroit. They start on the road.
Yes.
So it's really the
Two
home
series on the
opener.
road.
Who's the home opener you want to see get that start? Verlander or Scooble? Opening day is Scooble. That's obvious. We're talking about home opener. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my bad for not specifying that in the tweet, but go check that out. Daily wager, we're 2-0 this week, Shep. Last night we had Arkansas -5.5 at LSU. They won 91-62, 29-point win for the Razorbacks. Wow. 4 guys in double figures, 2 with 20-plus points. That's a hell of a win on the road. Tonight, the Pistons are 1.5-point favorites. I've got to take it, right? 1.5. You're basically giving me a pick 'em against a Raptors team. Now, they could be undermanned, but it's kind of weird that we don't know anything about suspensions right now. Don't you think? Well, maybe just wait until after the All-Star break to hand them out, or what?
I don't know. It's strange and confusing. I'm not going to lie. I think I would probably go with the Raptors tonight. I don't know what it is. It's a feel thing. I hope I'm wrong, but they're playing some decent basketball too. You know how much I love the Pistons makeup. Maybe they take the attitude of, hey, you know what? Screw you. Screw the NBA. We know what you're trying to do, and we're going to stick it to you. I hope that's exactly what they do. I hope they shove it in their face. But this game is I'm a little leery of this game tonight. But we'll see what happens, and we hope you're right. We hope it's the 1.5 Pistons roll, and they hit the All-Star break on a high note. Really good high note today on this Wednesday morning. Our thanks